On September 11, 2001, I was an EMT living in New York City, and I can remember watching the towers fall and feeling immediately like I needed to do something. So I geared up and headed down to the scene as quickly as I could. And by the time I got there, all that were left were the fallen buildings and police officers, firefighters, and medical personnel who had responded who all needed help themselves. It quickly turned into a scene of first responders helping other first responders who were injured and trapped after the buildings collapsed. I think a lot about what I saw that day, the ashes falling from the sky, the gray sky in the middle of the day, and all of the other first responders who were there, and our only thought was to help as many people as we could. I remember listening to the news later and hearing them talk about how the first responders were running into the fire, so to speak, when everyone else was running away. But that's not really something you think about when you're in the moment. You're just doing your job. The idea of taking care of yourself is not an option when you're so focused on making sure that everybody else is okay. And in the midst of it, there's this sense that you can't afford to deal with all the emotions that come along with being a first responder. It's been almost 20 years since that day, which is crazy to think about. And I now work as the clinical director of Transformations Treatment Center, where we have a program that specializes in treating first responders. In recovery, we often talk about the metaphor of putting on your own mask first when you're on an airplane, so that you can better take care of the people around you. And I always wonder whether or not the flight attendants would be following that same advice in an actual emergency. There's a sense of responsibility when you're in a position where you're supposed to be taking care of other people. And in the midst of a global pandemic, many of our frontline healthcare workers feel that same sense of guilt and responsibility that stops them from getting the help that they really need. No one is immune to the trauma and the emotions that come along with living and working in such a stressful time. Our workers on the front lines of this pandemic deserve the same level of help and support that they give to the community around them. If you're a frontline healthcare worker who's been risking your life to help other people, you should know that it's okay to stop and get support. The people around you need you, but they need you to be healthy and they need you to be productive. Don't be afraid to let someone be there for you so that you can be there for others when it matters the most.